That is a warning about issues to do with xenophobic violence from the ISS. The Institute for Security Studies says concerted efforts are needed to ensure that there's no increase in xenophobic violence ahead of the elections. South Africa is set to vote in municipal elections this year, though no date has been set down yet. For more on this, I'm joined by Lizette Lancaster from the ISS, and she joins me from Pretoria. Lizette, what is the concern? What is the link that you found, that you have found between violence targeting foreign nationals, xenophobic violence, and the upcoming elections? Why is there greater risk ahead of the elections?
Thank you. Historically, we see that ahead of every election, there's an increase in attacks. Often we find local leaders and even branches and such using using foreigners to explain away or to justify why there are problems with unemployment, service delivery and such. So they are used often in local communities as scapegoats for the woes that communities face. And this is then, of course, taken advantage of by the local contestants in the election. We have seen these increases ahead of the 2009 general elections, especially when we saw those wide-range political attacks on foreign-born migrants in South Africa, where over 200,000 were displaced. And we've seen it ever since then. So I think it's a real risk. And we have seen such incidents increasing since around November in Durban already.
Is this coincidental in the sense that a period ahead of elections usually sees an outward acting out of grievances in the form of community protests, which create a situation where you have a crowd and possibly mob situations developing, but also the opportunity for opportunistic violence breaking out and looting and the likes? Or is this more systemic in the sense that there's actually a grievance against foreign nationals in some of these communities?
It is incredibly complex. So we know that all these almost orchestrated campaigns often underlie or belie the sentiment, this negative sentiment towards especially African and Asian foreign-born migrants. So the sentiment exists in communities and it's being exploited ahead of elections by groups. And it's often by leaders of groups or people that would like to take advantage of a position they may gain during the elections or after the elections when they or people that support them have been elected. So communities also know this. So very often we do see more protests ahead of election because communities will tell you that this is the only time that their leaders, their community leaders, seem to respond to their needs because they want their votes. So it's a very complex issue. But it is clear that, we need to really take it seriously.
And you are starting to see, as a last element that I will tease out with you, Lizette, a concerning trend around issues to do with extortion of foreign nationals for protection money.
Yes, of course, South Africans are also the victims of these extortion gangs. We've seen a number of arrests in the Western Cape. We know the President have said in his SONA address that there are task teams now established in many provinces where this is a problem, such as Gauteng. And there are many extortion groups. It seems to have become a way of gangs and thugs basically making money out of businesses. But what is especially worrying is that it seems to be a very big target would be these foreign-born migrants because they don't normally have the same protection from communities or from the police or from local leaders. So we've seen a lot of deaths, a lot of incidents in around the country in this regard.
All right, thank you for your insight there, Lizette Lancaster from the Institute for Security Studies, where she's Manager, Crime and Justice Information Hub, talking to us there about concerns that we may see a return of violence targeting foreign nationals ahead of the elections, the local government elections.